Ladies and gentlemen, people are asking us what happens after Australia Day with property. Is there a lot of stock coming on? Not a lot of stock coming on. We're going to talk about it and how it influences price.
Giddy up, ladies and gentlemen. This is
to talk about.
It's the unofficial start of the property market returning for 2025.
It's the official start of traffic back in Sydney.
Yeah,
Back to
school holidays almost over. People almost fully back to work. Brokers, solicitors, they're all back to normal. Yeah, is it always been this way?
Always. But good. Something I'd like to entertain, which is probably an obvious one, after this weekend, Billy Bob.
Such a good question. I think sometimes it's just personal lifestyle. People are away. People have got the kids off school, and the thought of doing open homes is just way too much. Sometimes I think they're a little bit guided by what they see in the news and think that it's a quiet marketplace during that time, or they just follow kind of the herd and put the property on the market when everyone else is doing it. It is strange.
And realestate.com and Domain report the highest number of months of December and January. Why? Because people have got time and they do what they love and they're browsing. Yeah.
But we are, like news reporters this morning, here to report what's happening on the grounds for the Northern Beaches. This was the number one conversation I had on the weekend with over 50 open home attendees. I know for the rest of the sales team, met a lot of buyers out there. Everyone's asking what's on the act on realestate.com. That obviously doesn't include people doing off markets or free markets, whatever you want to call it. They're basically not online yet, but they're still showing people through. It doesn't include those homeowners, but 700 properties online. That's the number.
Find out there. So that people will talk about auction clearance rates, but that's only for properties that are going to auction. What about markets? And I won't even say sub-markets, I'll say bigger markets than the auction market is people for sale. And our number one portal for people for searching is realestate.com. It's twice as big using when we're watching the metric of how many properties are advertised in our suburbs. So we've got 100,000 homes on the Northern Beaches, and out of 100,000 homes, we track how many are for sale, but how many people are motivated for sale on paying to be on realestate.com.
Yeah, that's right. It's a great metric, and you've got the numbers from last year. If you want to read those out to give people an idea what was happening this time last year, because it is seasonally the date in everyone's calendar. Australia Day marks, I guess, sometimes the second lot of stock coming, because we did see a little bit, in the last 3-4 weeks post, the 1st of Jan. There was 200 properties that launched from the 31st of December to mid-January. So that was kind of the first wave back, but it only represented about 2/3 of what it was last year in terms of when we had the most amount of stock. And not all of them are brand new properties. Some properties didn't sell last year, and what they do is they just put a pause on the campaign. The listing comes off realestate.com, but they put it back up with a fresh listing effectively. Buyers were telling me they saw a few homes. Sometimes, yeah, absolutely. What were the numbers from last year, Mark?
Well, I think it's interesting. The amount of stock is available is interesting because, and people don't know if this is a lot or if it's not a lot. If it's 1,200 to 1,400 properties advertised on realestate.com on the northern beaches, again, there's about 100 properties, 100,000 properties on the northern beaches. If there's that amount of stock on the market, we would generally regard that as agents as a buyer's market. So the control is in the hand of the buyers, and that's a market where a buyer's market is a market where there's a lot of properties. Price growth is soft level or soft or maybe even negative. It's a negative market where prices are going down. On the other side of it, if we're sitting at peak periods at 500 properties, 600 properties, then that's regarded as a seller's market where there's exceptional capital growth in our marketplace. So stock levels on the market is an excellent metric to measure whether it's a buyer's market, a seller's market, or right in between, we call a balanced market.
Yeah, absolutely. Have you got the numbers there from last year?
Sure do. So last year, at peak period, last year we were at 900. Ooh, where'd it go? At peak period last year, we were at 970 properties. So November last year, before the decline of stock for sale started, we peaked at 970 properties on the market on Northern Beaches on realestate.com.au.
So there was a sharp sort of decrease, because if you take that 970 and then look at Christmas time, it did cut down.
Christmas. So it then went down to 739 in early December. It then went down to 573 in the 16th of December. It then went down to 514 properties on the 19th of December. It went to 449. So 449 when it hit the bottom, and then it started growing on early January back up to 649. And then what are we sitting at today, Billy Bob?
That's right. Now we're at 700. So you can see it literally halved, and then it's come back in kind of two sort of stages. But buyers are telling me they're feeling reinvigorated if they've been searching for the last sort of 6 months and they've had exposure to both sides of the calendar year. They feel invigorated by having a bit more choice, certainly feeling like they've got some new stuff to go and have a look at each weekend. But buyers that are selling to then go and buy, they've got, I guess, favorable selling conditions, but still feeling somewhat balanced by not rushing and feeling stressed about getting into their new place. So it's quite a good time to be transacting, really.
And then there's the talk of the interest rate. So I think with people are saying, do you reckon some sellers are holding off due to interest rates? They're waiting for the rate drop to put their property on the market?
I'm talking to some downsizers that are, particularly when they're not in a rush, because their changeover costs will only get better. So as the market comes up, they're sitting on homes that might be worth 4 or 5, and then they're going to be buying an apartment for 2 or 3. So as the market improves, potentially with interest rates, they feel pretty good about it. But yeah, I think in some cases potentially.
And I'd have to say, I think it's being factored in with the sentiment anyway. So everyone is saying it's a sure thing. Everyone is got the attitude of, we know what's going to happen, that interest rates are going to go down. So I don't think it's going to be a massive jump in the market because of the positive news of the rates. I think people are sort of factoring that in as buyers and sellers already, because it's just a known thing.
Yeah, there's Lisa's take on that. Lots of withdrawals too. And,
what's that, mate? You got to say.
Stock will remain low. Lisa reckons there's going to be a rate drop in Feb. Could be the perfect storm for price explosion. Jonathan Creek, good morning to you. Hope you had a great Christmas, New Year. Jonathan could be something, the federal government definitely wants one before the election. Keep an eye on that.
Yeah, I think that's a good call. I think if you're in government and you've got any control of influence, I think they want to be sending through a nice message saying, we got you some rate cuts. You should vote for us.
Yeah, we've curbed inflation, but yeah, it's going to be a really. I think it's going to be a really busy start to the new year. A lot of people making moves now, and as interest rates come down, we're going to find people's borrowing capacity changes for the better, and that's going to give people more choice.
Absolutely. Billy, thank you very, very much. Guys, keep an eye out on stock. We'll definitely let you know in the coming months how stock levels are tracking. My punt is that I think we're going to start seeing, we're at 700 now on realestate.com. We will probably end up no more than 800 or 850. And then we're going to see positive units, strata units, probably about 10% growth this year. And are probably in areas where there's not a lot of supply, not a lot of new units. And I think capital growth for houses, I think we'll see between 0 to sort of 3%. So I think they're going to level off. I don't think there's going to be negative, but I think it's going to be it's going to level off with houses because that's pretty serious.
And if you want to check the stock levels in your area, go onto realestate.com, put in your suburb or put in your area. Make sure you untick the button that says surrounding areas, and then you can go onto the map function, and it will display that number at the bottom. The bottom. Yeah.
Short week. Hey.
Short week. Woohoo! Weekend.
See ya. Thanks, Billy Bob. See you. What's Jonathan saying?
In Melbourne, there's stock, but the feedback is sea levels.
Interesting. All right. Take care. See you, everyone.